What is up, you guys? Master Cars Reviewer here, and today BMW Lebanon have given us the keys to the new X4 to test drive for the whole weekend. So let's see what it's all about. The new BMW X4 was revealed in early 2018, and it's largely based on the G01 X3, which we took a closer look at last year. I've always loved the idea of a small coupe-shaped SUV, and when this X4 came out, I wanted to drive it so bad. I believe it has the perfect proportions to make it a desirable sporty crossover without compromising its practicality and daily drivability. Now we've got a lot of time on our hands, so let's enjoy the new X4. Let's get inside. Our X4 came optioned with Sophisto grey metallic paint and black Vernasca leather on the seats. There are 4 different trim levels to choose from, with the xLine trim featured on our xDrive30i. The starting price of the new X4 is $78,000 in Lebanon. So about the interior in the new X4, well, it doesn't get the new updated BMW interior that we've been seeing in the new cars, but it still feels really luxurious with the features you would expect from BMW. You get, as standard, a semi-digital instrument display, as well as a 6.5-inch infotainment screen. Now, of course, you can opt for the more expensive 10.2-inch touchscreen, which has an optional gesture control and all of that. Now, about the iDrive system, you get the iDrive 7.0 in the new X4, and it's very nice, very intuitive. Now, personally, I would get the 10.2-inch screen. You do not get navigation on this small one, but it's really intuitive. I mean, it's BMW's iDrive system, so it's really nice going through the menus, really responsive, of very high quality, even in this very small screen. Now, I found a bit of difficulty in finding some menus, for example, changing the ambient lighting in the car. It took me quite a while to get to that, but once you find them, it's going to be really easy to use, so you're going to get used to it. And you can put shortcut buttons right here. So, for example, I want to change the ambient lighting. I preset it on number 7, so it directly pops up and you can change whatever you want. So that's a neat feature. Now let's go ahead and check out more of the interior. So starting off with the steering wheel, it's a 3-spoke multifunction leather-wrapped steering wheel. It's the new steering wheel that BMW is implementing in its cars, and I really like it. You have a nice 10 and 2 notches right here, and the 9-3 grip is pretty impressive. Behind that you have your aluminum paddle shifters, which as you know, guys, I love these paddle shifters, one of the best in the business. Behind that, your semi-digital instrument panel, you have a small screen right here. That's the only digital part. The other is like backlit. They're very simple to use. And then you have your headlight commands right here. And I really like this design that you have along with the air vents. That's a neat feature. Ambient lighting, as you can see. We're going to be scrolling into that later. Leather wrapped everywhere, as you can see, these white stitchings. And you have nice elbow rest here. It's all leather wrapped, by the way, guys. Even in the bottom right here, it's nicely leather wrapped. Then you have this 6.5-inch screen. You have the rear view camera with the parking sensors. It's really nice. I mean, I like it going to the menu, for example. Scrolling through the iDrive controller. It's really simple and easy to use. 2 air vents with the hazards right here. Then you've got the CD input. And then these are the shortcut buttons that I was talking about. It's touch sensitive. But for example, going to 7, as I showed you, you're going to have the ambient lighting. And for example, going to color, we're going to have green, for example. And you can see how these are going to change. Really like that. I'm gonna try them at night, see how they look. Now coming on to the climate control, we've got the 3-zone climate control, and as you can see, you have these white accents. In previous generations we had it in orange writing, so there's that. Let's just turn that off. You have an X4 emblem right here. Now you have a storage space beneath that, but I know it's kind of small. For example, I'm getting my phone, it doesn't fit it quite well. I mean, as you can see, it doesn't fit in quite well. I don't know why. And then you have a small cubby space, maybe to put your key. You have one USB port here. And then right here you have 2 cup holders with a 12-volt power outlet. And then you've got your beautiful BMW gear shifter. I really like that. Traction control button, driving modes, parking sensors and hill descent assist, auto hold and electronic parking brake. And you've got this small iDrive controller. Of course, if you want to opt for the bigger touchscreen, you're going to get a bigger iDrive controller. The typical interior in the new X4 makes you feel right at home if you've ever owned a BMW. You get the familiar dashboard layout with the technology you would expect in a 2019 crossover. Our X4 came optioned with comfortable Vernasca leather seats with lumbar support and a $1,700 panoramic glass roof. It's at night that the X4 lights up beautifully with ambient lighting flowing around the cabin for an exceptional experience. I noticed that the gauges turn orange at night, only in comfort mode. You also get BMW's light carpet illuminating your way at night. The xDrive30i is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, kicking out 252 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque. Acceleration is pretty good in this car. 0 to 100 is 6.3 seconds. BMW offers 3 petrol variants and 4 diesel models for the X4, as well as the hardcore X4M. The only transmission is the 8-speed Steptronic, perfectly suiting the coupe crossover. If I were to spec an X4, I would get the torquey B48 engine in the xDrive30i with an average fuel economy of 25 miles per gallon. It always feels ready to overtake at any instance you ask it to. The new X4M is the most powerful in competition form with 500 horsepower from its 3-liter twin-turbo inline 6. If you want some M Division spices on your X4 but you're on a budget, there are the M40i and M40D models you can choose from. Now, as far as storage space goes in the X4, it's actually really good. You have huge door bins right here. I mean, I can fit a big bottle of water, as you can see now. I mean, it's really big, and you have also a lot of space here. Really like that. Also, we saw the two cup holders with the small cubby space here. Opening up the center console, which is nicely leather wrapped. Also, big area right here. You can put a lot of stuff. Now, the glove box is pretty good. I mean, it goes through there, but it isn't that wide. But I mean, still you can fit a lot of stuff. Now let's go ahead and check out the trunk of the X4. Now I want to talk about the cargo space in the X4. As you know, it has a sloping roofline, so it may affect cargo space. You've got 525 liters without the rear seats folded, and if you fold them, you've got 1,430 liters. Now, the bad thing is that you can't stack up your luggage because, as you know, you have the trunk, and that's gonna be a bit hard. Now, these right here, you can store them. You just press it, and you can remove it by that, and then you store it. You open this here, and then, as you can see, wait, let me just turn that. As you can see, you can easily store it right here, and it goes the same with this. Now let's go ahead and check out the back seats of the X4. Now jumping into the back seats of the X4, first of all, you've got this nice ambient lighting, and I'm 185 centimeters, and legroom is pretty good. I mean, this is my driving position, and I can put my feet. It's really comfortable. Headroom is also pretty good. I'm sitting really uptight, and you know, it's just touching the roof slightly, but it's really good. And of course, we have the tri-zone climate control. So you've got climate control for the rear passengers right here with 2 air vents and a small cubby space, maybe for phone. And then in here you have an armrest with 2 cup holders, of course. I was actually surprised by the amount of space in the back seat of the X4. The exaggerated cutouts in the roof make for a comfortable ride for 6-footers. You get LED reading lights and a spinning hook, though no overhead grab handles, unfortunately. Focusing on the design cues of the X4, you can see it gets the same front fascia as the X3, with 2 bold-looking kidney grills. The optional adaptive LED headlights are a must. They completely change the overall front look, especially at night. I personally would go for the optional xLine trim, which adds a sportier character compared to the base Advantage trim. Now, our X4 is optioned with the Sophisto Grey metallic paint. It's a $1,000 option, and I really like it with the aluminum bits that you've got. We've got on this car 19-inch alloy wheels. Looks pretty good. You've got here also the grille on the side. Now, coming on to the rear of the X4, as you can see, you have this sloping roofline, which I'm a big fan of. You've got this sporty rear spoiler, and I cannot stick my hand in, but it looks really good nonetheless. Now, I'm a big fan of the LED taillights that you have on the X4. They look really good, and especially at night. The X4 measures 4.7 meters, which makes it slightly bigger than the GLC coupe. The rear design was a bit of a surprise when first released, but with BMW's new cars lately, you understand where BMW design is headed, especially with the new X6. If you look closely, you can see the body lines all around the car, and you realize how beautiful the X4 is. The hood creases give a sporty and aggressive look to the front, as well as the lower front bumper. The side lines flow nicely to meet the 3D-shaped LED taillights. The boot lid curves slightly towards the inside, making way to the rear reflectors, and 2 exhaust tips, accentuated by a silver-colored rear bumper. Since the release of the X4, I heard a lot of good things about the way it drives and how it's better than the X3. During our long-term test drive, we decided to head to Mount Sannine and experience the X4 on beautiful mountain roads. One of the first things you realize when driving the X4 is that you sit quite high. It has 20 centimeters of ground clearance, which is pretty good. I mean, from outside, you don't see the X4 as quite an aggressive SUV, but surprisingly, when sitting in it, you're higher than everything on the road, and that's quite a nice thing. The turning circle is actually pretty good, and I want to say something about the way you select between the reverse and D, is that it's really easy to maneuver, like if you want to go front, rear, your parallel parking and stuff. So it's going to be really easy. I mean, just knock the gear shifter and you're right and drive. So that's pretty good. Now you have 3 driving modes in the X4. We have Sport, Comfort and Eco Pro. And in Sport you can put it in Sport and Sport Plus. Now personally I haven't found any difference between Sport and Sport Plus, but from Eco Pro to Sport you feel that the steering tightens a bit, throttle response is pretty good, gear shifts are faster, so there's that. Now I have a straight road right here. We'll try and accelerate the car. We're gonna put it in Sport and then downshifting. As you can see, the X4 is actually pretty fast. It's 252 horsepower. That's pretty good, and I really like using the paddle shifters, which are standard on the X4. That's quite nice. BMW claims the xDrive30i accelerates in 6.3 seconds to 100 km an hour, which isn't surprising at all. You get 350 Nm of torque at just 1450 RPMs, giving you this adrenaline rush under acceleration and beautiful turbocharger sound too. What I love about this car is that you can drive it really smoothly when you want. I mean, no engine noise whatsoever in the cabin. It's just really smooth. The gear shifts are really smooth and fast too. So I mean, if you're cruising, you're just sitting and you want to cruise, I mean, you don't hear anything. Now we're putting it in Sport Plus so you can see how the car holds on to gears longer. Let's just open up the window so you guys can actually hear what I'm talking about. Another acceleration. Pretty good. I mean, wow. The X4, I mean, look, if you're looking for a crossover in this segment, just don't go anywhere else. You buy a BMW for this driving experience. I mean, wow, really, really good. The X4 is down 50 kilograms compared to the previous generation, weighing 1,795 kilograms. It feels nimble and responsive, and with the suspension being on the firmer side, you enter corners swiftly with no effort, no body roll. With all of these factors in perspective, you sometimes forget you're in an X4 and you start downshifting to second and entering the corner with full confidence, knowing that you're not in a normal crossover. You get as standard BMW's hill descent control, and I've tested it on-road and off-road. On-road, it feels a bit slow, so unless it's a really harsh downhill, I wouldn't use it personally. It's off-road that the hill descent assist makes a lot of sense and moves the X4 steadily along the path. The standard all-wheel drive system also offers more traction and capability in all conditions. Also, another feature that I used is the auto hold. I forgot how helpful it is when you stop the car in an incline, and it keeps you in place with no rolling. Something you might be scared from in the X4 is visibility. With its slow slung roofline, you might think visibility is pretty bad. Now, it isn't the best in the world, but honestly, I haven't found much difficulty with rear visibility, especially with the rear view camera. The D-pillar is a bit chunky, but there's this small window you can look out from. The windshield is also relatively small, but I mean, you would sacrifice some things for aesthetics. So it's been a full 48 hours with the new X4, and here are some things I enjoyed throughout the weekend. The thing is, I love having to review a car over a long period of time, because you pick up things you don't get to fully experience in just a few hours. The X4 is beautiful, and that's not just my personal opinion. Family, friends, and I even realized that the X4 turns heads frequently on the road. The LED lights play a big role in exaggerating its presence too. It's a whole new ambience at night, and you'll love taking the X4 on night rides, with strong adaptive LEDs. Power delivery is precise and mind-blowing for a non-M, non-6-cylinder BMW SUV. It accelerates with such poise that it'll surprise you every time you floor it. The X4 is a perfect all-arounder with class-leading driving experience on the road and enough off-road capabilities for most conditions. It's a ride you'll never forget, and if it's that what you're looking for, trust me, you won't be disappointed. So guys, that's it for the X4. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'd like to give a big thanks and shout out to BMW Lebanon for this opportunity. I mean, I really enjoyed my time with the X4. And if you did too, make sure to smash the like button. Until then, take care everybody. See you soon.
You don't have very long. What is your verdict? Find the defendant guilty. The deadly narcotic. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to